Together we are, but first coffee. Susie's just our host, but what matters most is we are a team. Together we are all safe here, and so are you. Among friends and mods, we are safe. We talk about trauma, break down drama of life, death, happy or sad, even mad. We discuss it all here. Together we will thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Together we fight cults or fight addictions. If not with experience, with love, and we don't judge. Please understand, this is a safe place to land. Please understand, you're not alone. This is a safe place to land. Together we thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Because we are but first coffee, and Susie welcomes us all here. Together we are but first coffee, and Susie.
Hey, everybody. Kind of a strange time for us, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of like it. I don't know. I don't like this daytime thing I got going today. I was thinking about all the stuff I'd be able to get done in the evening, so that makes me kind of happy. I don't know. By the time I get my show done in the evening, I'm usually just like so tired and just want to go to bed, but I don't. I don't ever go to bed till about 1 in the morning, maybe 2. So I hope Mara didn't hear that. She gets on to me. She's one to talk. She's up too, or she wouldn't know I was, right? Absolutely. So today we have a special guest again. I absolutely love it when Christy is here. If you don't know her, she is Christy from Conversations with Christy. She's one of my favorite people. And I like it is amazing to me how often I find myself now like thinking about her, like not in an icky, weird, stalker way, I promise. But just like I see stuff and I think, oh man, Christy would like that. Or, oh God, I wonder what she would think about this or that, or, something that's happening or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little obsessed, but I promise I'm not a stalker. I promise. I'm not, I'm not a stalker. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, Meredith or yeah, Meredith. I always want to call you Meredith instead of Marilee. I have a friend named Meredith, and I always think about both of you whenever I see you. But anyway, yeah, she put the GTFTS on there, which is, get the to sleep. Yeah. She gets on to me all the time. She gets on to all of us. She's like the boss. Like she has really become the boss of the mods. She's a mod boss. So anyway, I'm gonna bring Christy on. We haven't checked sound, so if there's a problem with the sound or anything, we'll fix it. I promise. I'm a couple minutes late. I had to reschedule this live because I went to go live and it said that it had been deleted off of off of not Facebook, but off of YouTube. And I thought, well, that's kind of the you know, kind of what I want is for it to be on YouTube. So I went and deleted it completely and redid it. So yeah. You might be the oldest in years, Mare, but you do not act it. You probably act the youngest, honestly, except for that bossy streak. Except for that bossy streak. Yeah. But anyway, so I'm going to bring Christy on and we'll just make sure everything's working and we're going to get after this. Hey.
Hey,
Hi, I
how
hear you
are
great. That's
you?
good. I like your background. Are you at home? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, so I just switched directions. So I'll tell y'all what, my ring light broke, right? My cats
Oh, yeah.
decided that the little plug-in was a toy
Uh-huh.
and they ate it. And so I had to figure out like what to do for lighting because I've been actually, even though I'm not on my channel, I've actually been on YouTube a couple of different
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And so I've had to figure something out. So I got windows here and windows here and a window here. And I was like, well, that's kind of a good natural
Yeah.
lighting. And
Yeah.
I got comfortable and then everybody could see like the back of the RV. So yeah, I'm at home. That's my kitchen there and our ceiling and everything that we've done. And I figured it was better than looking out and just seeing those icky old RVs. So I think I'm just gonna start doing it from the couch, like sitting sideways on the couch here from now.
Yeah. Hey, it looks great. I wish my lighting was better in here. I'm in the living room for a
Mhm.
while, and the lighting's not great in here. I should have turned that light on too, but anyway, um, we're redoing the office, and I had talked about that before. We're redoing the office and gonna add shelves because I kinda have a
Nice.
this side gig that I do. Mark laughs at me when I call it a side hustle, and he just laughs.
Right.
So I've been trying to say side gig, and he still laughs.
I
So anyway, I do this. It's not really a buy and sell thing. Right now, it's a getting rid of everything in my house thing. But eventually, it
understand.
might turn into a little bit of a buy and sell kinda thing.
Right.
Um, but anyway, I've been selling stuff on this online auction that's close to our house. It's just a few miles away. We meet on Saturday mornings and sell
Oh.
or pick up everything that people
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
either bought, drop them off if they've bought it, pick it up if I've bought anything, and I've been doing really good at not buying stuff, so I'm proud. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I've actually, like, without even really trying, been making, like, an extra $300 a week.
Hey, that's awesome.
I mean, it adds up, right? And right here at the holidays,
Yeah.
everything makes me feel good. I'm kind of getting rid of crap
Yeah.
in the house, plus, making a little extra money. I was laughing
Yeah.
because Mark said, "So if it's a side hustle, what's your real hustle?" And I said, "Well, it's supposed to be YouTube." But right now, I don't know. The auction might be my real job and YouTube might be my side hustle.
There you go. There you go. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully they'll balance each other out here soon,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
YouTube will pick back up for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's actually been doing pretty good when I will make, when I have been able to do shows, but with my eye surgery, it has been
Mhm.
so hard, and to find a time that's comfortable. So, anyway, all
Right.
that to say my lighting sucks, y'all.
No,
I've
I
been running
completely
around, so now I'm sweaty. So how are you doing? How are you doing? How's your little, radical sabbatical, as Natalie calls it? She's on a radical
Oh gosh.
sabbatical.
Oh, it's good. So the
Good.
National Guard got deployed to Memphis. So
Yeah.
crime has gone down in some ways, but it's still there in others. There were a
Yeah.
couple of shootings
Oh, yeah.
on either side of us, a couple weeks in a row. But I
Mm,
think we're kind of to the point where now, um, at least in the park, most of the summer campers have gone. They've gone home,
yeah.
so it's starting to kind of thin out a little
Yeah.
bit. And we're gonna actually be here. I thought we were gonna be leaving like the beginning of December, but it's actually
Mhm.
gonna be the beginning of January
Oh,
before we
wow.
leave. And we don't know where we're going next. So I'm hopeful because we've got an RV and a Corvette, and Michael drives the
Yeah.
RV and I drive the vet. I'm really kind of hoping that we stay on the East
Yeah.
Coast. I was really wanting to go back west or up north, but I don't think this summer with or this winter with the way things are shaping up, like
Yeah.
I'll go to the beach. If there's something in Virginia next to an ocean, I'm good, and then we can just make our way back that way. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully Michael will end up in Alaska this
Oh,
spring or
wow.
summer is what I'm hoping, and then I will get to go hang out with my friend in Oregon in the
Yeah.
Cascade Mountains of Oregon. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
all for that. Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm like, look,
have you been to Alaska before?
I have. I lived there for about 6
Oh,
months.
yeah, that's right, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
We went to Alaska to Fairbanks, and I
Uh-huh.
loved it. Now, we didn't go when it was freezing cold. I don't know how much I would love
Right?
that, but I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. I have figured out that I think that I am much more of a, like, the forest and the, mountains and all that
Yeah.
girl than I really thought I was. I always thought I was like a beach girl, and I think that's
Uh-huh.
just I love the beach, don't get me wrong, and I absolutely feel
Right.
such peace at the I could sit and just
Oh,
watch the water
yeah.
for hours. But for
Mhm.
fun, for, like, recreation and all that, I really like
Yeah.
the forest and the mountains and all that. I've really kind of fallen in love with hiking, which I
Oh,
can't hike
yeah.
real far yet. I do good to
Right.
do those 2 or 3-mile hikes, but,
Right. Right.
but I'm my daughter, she does, like, these long, long hikes. I mean, like, 26 miles she'll hike, and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Oh, wow.
28 miles, she just
Yeah.
yeah. To me,
Like
that's sounds
extreme.
crazy, but
N
she loves it.
Now, have you ever been to Washington State?
No, well, I've been there, like, at the airport, but not, like,
You
to
should
visit.
you
Yeah.
should go because it's the perfect mix. There's mountains, there's
Yeah,
oceans, and there's big trees.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm
See,
the
I
same
I
way. I
lived
like
in,
it.
yeah, I lived in Southern California for a few years and
Oh, okay.
loved
Yeah,
it there, like, loved
yeah,
it. Would go back there in a heartbeat. If I could take my family with me, if they would,
yeah. Right,
if
right.
they would go with me, then I would absolutely move back to, Northern California. Southern California is great, but it's just so busy and, ugh, I don't know,
Yeah,
there's a lot.
it's
It's a
its
whole
own
lot.
vibe.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Northern California is nice.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been to both. I
Yeah.
really Northern California. Washington State though is my
Oh,
favorite. It would be like Washington State and then Alaska. It kind of goes back
yeah.
and forth, but
Yeah.
yeah, both of those. So I'm hoping that he gets to go there. That would be,
Oh,
really
yeah.
really good for us. Like he would go by himself, but like I said, I get to spend time with my friend, and she and her husband operate a pack station actually up in the mountains, in the
Oh,
Cascade
wow.
Mountains that backs up to National Forest. And so I was there in September for her wedding, and it was beautiful.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, I could do this.
Oh,
So she told me, she goes, if Michael ends up going to Alaska, she's like, there's a really nice RV park just kind of down 12 miles away from where they're at. And it's really inexpensive, and I'd be able to drive up there and see her. And so I'm all for after spending the spring and summer and winter here, I do
oh,
not
yeah.
believe that I am owed anything, but I do believe that I have paid my dues for this particular year. So I'm thinking, universe, like, could we maybe just take next year and make it amazing? Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
putting out there.
When we were in South Dakota, I kept telling Mark, I kept saying, "I could live here. I could absolutely live here." And, he kept saying, "Oh, you wouldn't like the cold and everything." And my uncle was telling him, "It doesn't get that bad. It's, it gets cold, of course,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
not, horrible." He said it would be a great, like, happy medium between where we're at and like Alaska or Canada.
yeah,
I'd also move to Canada in a heartbeat.
yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah.
there's beautiful parts of Canada. My
Oh,
favorite's
I
British
know.
Columbia. It is the prettiest,
Really?
I think. Oh
Really?
yeah. Yeah, when we drove to Alaska, it was right before COVID. It's funny. I found all of my we had to have actual travel papers. Like we had
Mhm.
to have a letter from the marathon in Kenai saying that we were essential workers and that we needed to be there. Now, I don't work for the same company as Michael, but they knew I was going, so they just made a letter for
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
but we got to drive through Alberta. So we left from Colorado and went from Colorado through Wyoming, through Montana, and then up across Alberta, British Columbia, the Yukon, and then over into Alaska. So we entered kind
Mhm.
of like below Fairbanks, but then we went on past Anchorage. We were on the Kenai Peninsula.
Mhm.
So, we were like at I guess it's the Gulf of Alaska or something like that is what
Yeah.
it's called,
Yeah.
and drove over to Homer. But it was
Wow.
beautiful. I thought, we got into the Yukon, and it was everything I imagined. Desolate.
Really?
There were, yeah, driving through British Columbia, we seen all kinds of like black bears and
Oh,
porcupines
wow.
and rams. And I mean, and I'd grown up in the mountains, so I had seen these things. Like, I had not seen black bears that close, but I'd never
Mhm.
seen a grizzly bear. And when we got into Yukon, like, that's all we seen was
Oh,
grizzly
wow.
bears. And I actually have a video. I don't know if I told you the story. I have a video of me hanging out of our truck taking a video of a grizzly bear walking down the road in the Yukon. And my husband is like freaking out. He's
I
got he's
bet.
got a hold of my britches by the belt loop, like, holding me. Now we're in this 19, like, I don't know, 95, 96 F-350 diesel, like,
Yeah.
that bear was really gonna have to try. But my husband's like, he could eat you. And I'm like, he's not gonna eat me. I gotta get this shot, of course, in true photographer, thing, like,
Yeah.
I've gotta get it on video. But there's one point where he looks at me at the camera,
Mhm.
and you can see this short. It's actually on my YouTube channel.
I'll have to go look.
Michael talking about it, but you can see the video. But there's a point where the bear looks at me, and I could see the color of his eyes, and they were like these really beautiful amber, but his
Oh,
paws
wow.
were so big.
Oh,
And when he
god.
walked, instead of like stepping like this, it was like this, and he
Yeah.
just was not paying any attention. Like, and that's how I knew I was okay. Now, I wouldn't have hopped out of the truck
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything. But Michael was dying a little inside. I mean,
Oh,
he's
I
like, my
bet.
wife would be that one. Like, have to call all the
Yeah.
kids and my mom and everybody and be like, well, it
She got eaten
wasn't
by a bear.
yeah, it wasn't the vid that got us. She decided it was a good idea in the Yukon to film a bear, and
Yeah.
but
I've
it's a very
never
cool
I've
story.
never seen a bear in the wild. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen them in, like, nature preserves kind of a deal,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
nature parks kind of a thing where they're
Right, right,
basically
right,
in the live, but not like, you know,
right.
really
Oh,
truly
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah,
we
no,
kept
this one.
watching. We kept
Yeah,
watching in
this.
South Dakota, but well, I had all kinds of I did several shorts when we were in South Dakota, and people would see me standing beside the vehicle, and I was filming buffalo.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
oh my gosh, people were freaking out. It was so sweet. They really were. They were so scared for
Right,
me, and I'm like, "Okay,
right,
my camera has a really good zoom, and they are
right,
actually, like, probably almost a mile away." They're
right.
pretty far. I can barely see them
Yeah,
except
yeah,
with the zoom. And so, I'm like 2 foot from the door of the car, so, I can get in and be safe, but they
right,
were like,
right.
what if it locks? And I'm like, "Well, if it locks and it's Mark locking me out and trying to get me trampled because he's in there." He's like, "I'm not
Right,
getting out." And, it
right.
was so fun. I don't know. Safety first,
Yeah.
but it was fun.
Well, of
So,
course, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but, I mean, I am that person that would, like, hop a no
Yeah.
trespassing sign to go get the picture. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it is good that people like, Ben teases me all the time, Ben Turner. I'm like, "But
Yes.
did you die?" And he's like, "Christy, we have to raise the bar." And I'm like, "But you
Yeah.
don't understand, like, that's a pretty good bar for me." And
Yeah.
then the more that
That
we
is.
became friends and he got to know me, he's like, "Man, you weren't joking, were you? But we still need to raise the bar."
Yeah.
No,
He
I
is so funny.
understand.
Oh,
He is he is so nice. He and my husband, they get along good. They joke back and forth.
mhm.
But he is really nice. I like Ben.
I do
And we're
too.
gonna be doing the village thing on Thursday. So we're
I
gonna
am
be live, I
too.
think, like 7, 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 6.
Oh,
I don't know. I
really?
have to check my Wait, it's gonna be early.
Well, mine's
But
at 7 in the evening Central.
is
So,
it? Oh, nice, nice.
yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's
we'll have
so
to check
cool. I
it out.
didn't know about it
Yeah.
last year when people were doing it, but and I don't
Mhm.
so, I really don't know how it even works. So, like, do we go on to the village itself and then is everybody, like, on that site, or how does that work? I mean,
Yeah.
we'll have
Yeah,
to
so,
figure it out.
from what I understand, because 'cause I've never done it off of my channel, but from what I understand is that you had to sign up for the time, and then they'll give you a link, like, Misha
Mhm.
will send a
Yeah.
link out, and then you just go onto that link at your time,
Yeah.
and then you do your time, and yeah, and so that's how that is. So it's
Yeah.
their
I thought
link,
that's how it would work.
their whatever. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
actually had to do a practice run because, Ben has Eva Max or something. I have Restream, he's got something completely
Oh,
different, so
yeah.
we had to, like, figure out, like, make sure that I could get on,
Yeah.
and everything, but yeah, it I did it last year, it was fun. I put my turkey in and everything, and then chatted with Ben while my husband and Lala, the fur babies, snored in the back,
Yeah.
and I just shut the door,
Yeah.
and I was like, "There we
Yeah.
are."
I think that I'm actually going to get to talk with Misha.
Nice,
She said that
nice.
she would, tempt me with an interview with her if I would do it, and I was like, "Oh, Misha." I
Yeah,
was just, like,
that
going,
would be
"Ooh," but no, I wanted to do it, but I'm like, "No, now you
yeah,
know I'm gonna do it." I did want to do it.
right?
I was like that person saying, "Get a hold of me, get a hold of me."
Right, right, right.
So, yeah.
She's a sweet lady. That'll be a really good interview.
Yeah.
She has a lot of amazing,
Yeah.
amazing qualities and
She seems
stories
just, like,
and
funny, and even if we're
yeah,
talking about serious things, whatever we talk about, I don't care. I don't even
right,
know what we're gonna
right.
talk about. We're just gonna talk. I think those are the ones that go the best, honestly. I mean, look at us. We're
Yeah.
just, like, talking. People are probably like, "Hello." Oh, I was gonna show you. I found a kind of a woo-hooey kind of shop in the town that I go to constantly, and I bought
I
this
love it.
necklace. Can you see that?
Ooh, is that or quartz?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, now,
And it's
did they tell
handmade,
you
like,
what
she made it. No, they
that
didn't
is
tell me anything, and then
beautiful.
it's got the amethyst right here. It's kinda
Uh-huh.
hard to see in my lighting 'cause it kinda
Right,
sucks.
up
Yeah.
at the top. So
Whoops.
quartz
Mhm.
amplifies energies. So to amplify that amethyst energy is
Yeah.
really beautiful. I love that. That's
I love it.
gorgeous.
And then
Yes.
I also bought something else. They
What
had
you
these little grab bag things and pendulums, and they
Uh-huh.
said to let your intuition pick for you,
Right.
and so I
Uh-huh.
did, and I didn't look at it
Uh-huh.
until after I bought it, and I went out to the car, and I told my daughter, I said, "Okay, now we're gonna look at it." So, we were looking at it, and I'll admit, whenever I very first pulled it out of the little pouch, I
Uh-huh.
thought for just that split second, I thought, I kinda wish that it was, purple or pink or something, but that was more my, like, fashion side,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But then when
Right.
I looked at it and my lighting really sucks, but when I looked at it, it's these brown and green and stuff colors in it, and I literally teared up because to me, in my mind,
Mhm.
like, absolutely was, like, seeing all of these scenes from the Badlands when we were in South
Oh,
Dakota, which
right.
is
Uh-huh.
where I literally could have spent the entire trip right there, and
Yeah.
teared up and cried several times there because I
Oh,
just felt so
right.
emotional and everything there, and I've really not often there's one place on Maui that I feel like that, but that's the only 2 places on Earth that I've been to so
Really?
far that I have felt just that like, I couldn't pull myself away, and so now
Mhm.
this just looks like it to me. I don't know, it's so silly, but I love it.
Is it
So
a pendulum? Is that
yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
Oh, nice. Is it
Whoops.
fluoride? Is that what it is it
I don't
fluoride?
know. I don't know. I'll have to take a picture of it and send it to you so you
Yeah.
can see it better.
Nice. That is so
Isn't that
cool.
pretty? It's, like, got
I
gold, and
love
it just
that.
looks like that, but I'll send you a picture, it's so pretty. But
Yeah.
anyway, the
Yeah.
lady that owns it, her mother made both this and the necklace that I bought.
Oh,
So,
how amazing. Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
the
love it.
best.
They do readings and
Yeah.
stuff there too. It's just,
Mhm.
I don't know, and dream interpretation and all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah.
I used to
Yeah.
know the guy now my cat's gonna climb on here. I used to know the guy that owned it before, but,
Uh-huh.
he sold it to them, and I hadn't been in there, and it's kinda changed a little bit since they took ownership, so, hey,
Right.
this is my baby, Otis.
Oh, that is so cute. Otis, you're so cute.
He's so cute. He's just a little bit spoiled. He is
Mhm.
mwah. He's just tiny. My dad got him for me, which is so funny because and I bought this ring too.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really pretty.
That is quite a ring.
I know. I don't know. I'm not really into, like, the big stuff, but I like the
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and I constantly sit there
Yeah,
and rub on it. It's like a worry stone or something to me. I just sit and rub on it. So, but
there
I
you
really
go.
didn't spend that much money. It wasn't I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't that much
Right.
money. It was, for everything, I think I spent, like, $50 or $60 or something,
Oh,
and,
that's
it
not bad
wasn't
at
bad at
all.
all. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So, I was pretty happy. But anyway, let's get to you. I'm taking up too much of the conversation. I'm really excited to hear this direction that you're taking, this, way of thinking and feeling and everything that you're going into, and I want you to kinda explain it to them and to me 'cause,
Yeah.
I read everything that you sent me. I couldn't get the other thing to the podcast to open,
Right,
but
right.
I do wanna watch it. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm kind of like I know a little bit about what you're talking about, but I
Uh-huh.
wanna hear it from you. So go ahead and just kinda tell us.
Awesome. Well, so I've been off my channel since October,
Mhm,
and I really stepped back because I was going through a lot of really deep healing, and it was like
mhm,
healing and integration, and I was just like, "What in the hell is
mhm,
going on?" And I couldn't kind of get myself right, and it was all of this big stuff, and
mhm.
I had so much that I wanted to share, but I didn't know how to share it because I didn't want to just come on my channel and like whinge,
Yeah,
and like complain about my life and not have any solutions or any answers or any guidance and just be there
yeah.
and like have it just be all about me, and it just didn't feel right.
Mhm,
It didn't feel healthy either. And so I stepped away from my channel to just kind of heal. I had a lot that was going on,
mhm.
and you know, so uh Aquarius is my sun sign and Pluto is an Aquarius. And so Pluto is the god of the underworld, it's the transformation, right? And so with it being in my sun sign, that's my what that is the sign of self. So it's a lot
Mhm.
of self transformation.
Yeah.
And I've got my Chiron, which is the wounded healer, is coming around, and I'm in my Chiron return, which is looking at all of my past like things that I had experienced and have experienced in life, and what did I learn from them, and where do I need to make amends, or how can I guide someone in some other way. And
Mhm.
then also in my chart is Panacea, and Panacea is the healer of all wounds. So there's a lot of really deep healing in my chart naturally, so which is why I tend to lean more toward the healing. And so as I was
Mhm.
trying to figure all of this out, I was working with Ben. We were watching Chase Hughes. We were like neuroscience. I mean, Dr. Gabor Mate, internal
Yeah.
family systems, Dr. Rimani, anything that I could get my hands on to help me to understand
Yeah.
why my body was feeling the way my body was feeling. And then I was taking that and I was like, okay, so now, and let me I grabbed my book just in case. Here we go. And so I kind of figured out this little formula for me. And it is what plus why equals how. So,
Mhm.
what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And how do I heal it? And
Yeah.
that's kind of the formula that I came up with. And that's what I've been doing. And so, but I found that there was this place where science and spirit intersected.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is really cool, and this is powerful, because
Yeah.
if you understand that what's going on in your body is normal and
Yeah.
natural, and you understand that, then one, you don't feel crazy, You don't feel alone. You don't feel like, oh my God, I am the weirdo in the room and this is only happening to me. And why am
Yeah,
I falling apart? Um, but when you can understand that and you can understand the trauma and you can understand all of that and like the Carl Jung psychology of the shadow. And we're not meant to decimate our shadow. We're meant to face it and love it and integrate it into our
mhm,
lives. And so I actually wrote a couple of things that I would love to share with you if I could,
absolutely, absolutely.
that explains it really well. So I've got a personal letter here that I wrote and then an introduction. And because you guys are not uh haven't been on my channel a lot, there is this stoplight that my husband bought from Hobby Lobby. It is the bane of my existence. I hate this stoplight. I hate it. Like, I want to take it off of the wall and throw it away. But I can't because it's my husband's and I don't want to do that to him. So the name that I came up with was Learning to Love the Stoplight, the science and spirituality of accepting, overcoming, or adapting, overcoming, and healing. And that's
Mhm.
why I called it Learning to Love the Stoplight, because that stoplight
Yeah,
ain't going anywhere. Your shadow's not going anywhere. These past experiences,
yeah.
they're not going anywhere. So you have to learn to love them. So I'm going to read these two, and then if you've got questions, let me know. Um, you can make what is next. You can make this next part something you are really proud of. And that's a quote I heard from Chase Hughes. I don't know where he got it from. I don't think he made it up, but I
Yeah.
don't remember who said it to him. This series comes from my deep healing journey. When I was told that Pluto was moving into Aquarius for the next 20 years and that this would give me an opportunity to really deeply heal, I had no idea the depths, the heartbreak, the teeth, the blackness it would bring up. To this point, healing hadn't been easy, but it hadn't been like this. Loss, heartbreak, anger, confusion, acceptance, gratitude, integration, realization, and the cycle just repeats. With
Mhm.
every with every repeat, the depth increases. The lessons more raw, more painful, more shocking. Honestly, there haven't really been any highs yet. There's no summit, no mountaintop. This is a long, slow, painful, deeply personal journey that gives me glimpses of light to drag me back in. Sometimes it feels like a controlled drowning. I'm under just long enough to panic and above just long enough to calm down and breathe. What I'm learning is that in the moments of drowning, the knowing that I will be brought back up, that in fact I am not drowning or dying. It is the deepest part of me that is getting cleansed, and the deeper the part, the further down I have to go. I also know that the moments I resurface, there's clarity. I am in fact given time to breathe, to focus, and what I determine what both of those experiences are like. This isn't torture, it's teaching. It's not tough love, it's deep love. I have no idea if you will get from this what I have. I have no idea if it will. My handwriting is so terrible. I have no idea. Oh, if it will help. What I do know is I am a guide, a shower of the way. It's up to you to get from this what's meant for you. This is how I
Mhm.
healed, and I am healing. I put as much into this course as I did into my own healing because it is my notes, my lessons, my journal entries, my classes. Brene Brown said, one day you will tell your story of how you overcame and what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. As
Mhm.
long as you keep secrets and suppress information, you are fundamentally at war against yourself. And that's from The Body Keeps Score.
Wow.
Chase Hughes says, guilt doesn't make you a good person. Translate this into what works for you. And then this is the introduction. When you walk into my RV, the very first thing you will see is a small stoplight. It is yellow, it works. It gently changes from red to yellow to green and back again. It hangs on the wall above the outlet. Wherever you are in the front of the RV, you see it. When all the lights are off, you see the gentle light changes. When I'm on camera, you see it. When I work, I see it. It is always there, blinking, shining, and looking tacky as hell. I hate that light. I fought over buying it. I often don't change the battery so it won't work. It would be the first thing to go if I had my way. It never leaves. My husband loves the damn thing. He is the reason it's here. It's the second stoplight we have had, and I feel that in every house we have from here on out, it will be there. Like a cousin Eddie gift that you got, yet dream of destroying, here it is. It's a tacky, awful light, is like our shadow, like our healing journey. It's always there. It won't leave. It is a reminder of something we didn't like but can never get rid of. It has become a part of us. Our choice now is, do we accept it or try to destroy something that is indestructible and will forever be there? To destroy it is to destroy a part of us. When we learn to live with the stoplight, we learn acceptance. We aren't meant to destroy our shadow, rather integrate it. Carl Jung gave us shadows and archetypes. Shamans gave us understanding of the upper and lower worlds, our ancestors, and our past. The ability to see between worlds and a deep soul connection to see the oldest, deepest parts of us. Science tells us that through trauma changes the brain. Spirit tells us that trauma changes the soul. Both are true. And that's kind of like
Yeah.
that's a good, and then from there, we're going to go into talking about, and it sounds like super high level, guys. I promise it's not. We're going to go
Yeah.
over the chakras. We're going to go over the parts of the brain and how to like bring those into alignment. And then we are going to go into the phases, which is integration. So the first one is like meeting yourself. So, what does that look like from a science standpoint? What part of your brains are you using? The trauma, what
Yeah.
chakras, what archetypes are showing up? And then the next part is see, I've got two different notebooks because I'm having to rewrite all this here. And so the phase one is the brain on trauma, healing the energy body through neuroscience and going through like Reiki and energy clearing, breath work. Phase two is awareness of the shadow and integration. And just how our brain, what it does when it's traumatized
Mhm.
and what
Yeah.
happened. And then phase three is transformation and reconnection. So just healing our bodies. And then phase four is integration and purpose. And then I also included a little part about the Velveteen Rabbit because I
Mhm.
love that kid's book, The Velveteen Rabbit.
Yeah.
And so there's a part in there about at the beginning becoming real, about
Mhm.
just realizing who you are and what it is. And
Absolutely.
so it's what I've been working on. It's how I've healed. It might not be for everybody. It's
Mhm.
not this super deep, like when I say neuroscience and neuroplasticity and
Yeah.
polyvagal theory, like don't get scared, guys. I
Yeah.
promise if I can understand this is the most surface level thing that you
Yeah.
will see. But it helped me to heal, and it's kind of what I've been doing. And I get a lot of times people asking me, how did you heal? What did you do? And half the time I'm like, I don't know. I just did
Yeah.
some stuff. I don't know. Like I researched and I thought it through, and then I
Yeah.
thought, you can't just have it all just be therapy, but you can't have
Mhm.
it all just be spiritual either. Like you really have
Absolutely.
to bring that together. And so this is kind of that part of it where it's that coming together.
Mhm.
And there's going to be astrology in there and tarot and, like I said, archetypes, moon phases, journaling. There's all kinds of stuff. I had a professional astrologer look at it. I had Ben take a look at it. I had Amber take a look at it. So
Wow.
it sounds very high up here, but I promise it's not.
Yeah. So are you bringing this to your channel in January when you come back?
Yeah, I'm doing it in January. It will be 6 months to a year. Kind of
Uh-huh.
depends on how long we go through it. I usually am live on my channel at 1:30 in the
Mhm.
afternoon. I do it during the day. It's just easier for me during the day when everybody's gone than
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah.
to do all of this when the dogs are going crazy and my husband's home. But yeah, so I'm really hopeful. I created a gratitude journal
Mhm.
in 2024, and I created a dream journal. So those are I'm going to make those available to people too.
Oh, wow.
And just bringing in the elements and the earth and the air and the fire
Mhm.
and the water energies and um the more I explain it, the bigger it sounds, but it's really not as big as it sounds.
Well, when you take it step by step, you're kind of giving an
Yeah,
overview and but when you do it,
yeah,
kind of go step by step, it makes it
yeah,
easier to digest and to understand, I think. I've
yeah,
always believed that science and the spirit can and do coexist and that we need to,
yeah,
we can't ignore one and expect the other to, to carry everything. Like
right,
they have to work together. And
right,
so,
and
yeah.
and we're taught that even in the ancient Lakota teachings, they have the medicine wheel.
Mhm,
And when one part of it gets out of balance, then the rest of it gets out of balance. And
mhm,
so, the medicine wheel is the mind, it's the body, it's the spirit, it's the soul. And
mhm.
when one part gets out, the others kind of start falling. And I found
Yeah,
that in my own life. When I started getting stressed and I wasn't taking care of my body, then my mental health started going, and
absolutely.
then my spiritual practice went, and then my soul got sad,
Yeah,
and my body just did what it did, which is
yeah,
protect itself.
mhm.
And
You kind of shut
that's
it
where
down. I mean, that's what I have done is
yeah,
on some I mean, not, completely, but your body does kind of just go inward and kind of just shut down and nothing works right. Your
right,
spirit, your nothing works right. And that's where I've struggled with that. I've talked to you some with that.
yeah.
Probably too much because I'm always
No,
telling
no,
you
no.
stuff.
No, 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 you're good. Well, and that's a part of our brain. That's our
Yeah,
brain doing that.
yeah,
And we go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And I'm a
yeah,
fighter, man. I will fight you like an angry little hobbit all day long.
yeah,
But
me
there are parts that when it's triggered, I freeze and
yeah,
I just shut down. And so, there's a very real reason that we react that way. And there's a very
uh-huh,
real part of our brain that's getting triggered in
mhm,
that moment. And so, if you can know what part of your brain that is, and you can know, like, because it's so cool. Like, oh God, guys, I'm gonna lose you here. But like, when you look at the parts of the brain, they align with the parts of the chakras, and when you look
mhm,
at the chakras, they align with Maslow's pyramid. So if you can look at, okay, my heart feels this way. Okay, well, what's your body doing? What's it saying? What part of the brain is that?
mhm,
How do you heal that? Then you can go to the chakra. Like, for example, the root chakra, red activates it. So red stones will activate your root chakra.
mhm.
Green stones will calm it down. So if
Yeah,
if you're finding yourself all stressed out and you're worried about paying your bills, having a
mhm,
house, um, being loved, like those basic things,
yeah,
that grab a green crystal, sit with it, go out
mhm,
in nature, and then that is like the very first tier of Maslow's pyramid, right? If
yeah,
we are not feeling safe, if we are not fed, if we are not, feeling a part of our tribe, all of that stuff, that's that primal part of our brain right back here, our brain stem into our spinal cord. Like, then you can at least know. Did I
yeah.
lose you guys all? Are you like, wow, she's weird?
Yeah, they're just listening.
But but that's how I healed, was like understanding that part of it. And then, you get deeper in the spiritual part, and what's the archetype around that? And if it's the hero, okay, or like let's say it's the warrior. All right, well, you can have a warrior archetype, and that's great. That's a
Yeah,
fighter, right? And you
yeah,
need to fight.
yeah,
You
yeah,
need to fight. But at some point, the warrior gets really tired of fighting,
mhm,
right? Like, the warrior can't just fight all the time.
Mhm.
then you get somebody who's looking for fights when there are no fights. You get
Mhm.
somebody who is burnt out, who's
Yeah.
anxious, who doesn't quite know what to do because the way they've been their whole life or the way you've been feeling for a while is no longer
Mhm.
resonating. And so then what do you do? And then do you go into collapse where you
Yeah.
just fall apart and everything falls apart? Or
Yeah.
do you go into posturing where you're like, I'm gonna fake it till I make it?
Yeah.
Or do you go into composure where you're like, you know what? Okay, it's cool. What's the next part? Like, and those are, by the way, that's a neuroscience thing.
Yeah.
But, and the collapse, I mean, you can even walk that back. That will tell you the
Mhm.
trauma that you had. Were you somebody as a child who it was safe for you to fall apart?
Yeah.
If it was, then you're probably gonna collapse, and I collapse all the
Yeah.
time. I'm always collapsing. But if you were raised in a household where that would have gotten you hurt, that's gonna cause you to posture.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look at that and you're gonna be like, "Nope, I'm strong. I'm carrying on. I'm fine. It's fine. It's all fine." And I've
Yeah.
learned when people say that, like, dig in on that statement, y'all, they're not fine.
Yeah.
They're trying to convince themselves. But,
Mhm.
and so then what's the next step that a warrior, what's an archetype that a warrior could step into? A hero. Being the
Yeah.
hero of your own story, having a hero's journey. Maybe you take a hard left at Albuquerque and you're looking at your inner child,
Yeah.
or the saboteur. Maybe you're sabotaging yourself. And so those are the weird jumping points that my
Mhm.
brain goes to. But that's where Ben and I have really made a good friendship, because I call him and I'm like, Ben, or like send him voice clips. I don't call him, but like, Ben,
Yeah.
what is this? What's going on? Even helping me to understand like really very real stuff that happened with
Yeah.
my kids. Like, I had an instance where one of my kids and I were in healthy disconnection, so we were estranged, and they were remembering an event one way, and I was
Yeah.
remembering it another. And so I called, I'm gonna say I called, but guys, I voice clipped
Yeah.
him. I voice clipped Ben, and I was like, "How does this happen?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, it's a part of your brain, and actually, every time you access the memory, that memory changes.
Hmm.
So the more you access it, the more the memory changes." And that's why when banks get robbed, they grab everybody right then. They don't let you talk
Yeah.
to anybody, and they talk to you right then.
Yeah.
Memories change over time. And so every time that my child accessed this particular memory, depending on who was around them, whether it was my narcissistic ex-husband or seeing things through their own lenses, it changed. And it
Mhm.
became something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's where the truth, their truth, that is her
Yeah.
truth of what happened, but it's not maybe the exact truth of what
Mhm.
happened, because I have a very different story. So, I started kind of
Yeah.
piecing it together that way, and then looking at it like, okay, so from an astrological standpoint, what's going on here? Where's all the planetary placements, and what are they doing, and how is that affecting me? Oh, well, you know,
Yeah.
Pluto's in Aquarius and Mercury's retrograde, and these two planets are over here fighting each other, and it's just all going to hell in a handbasket. So of course
No
I feel this,
wonder. No wonder I
you
feel like
know.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just found that the more that I looked, and I started with the science and worked my way out spiritually, the more it made sense, and the more I was able to heal.
Yeah.
And journaling, there's a lot of journaling prompts in this. I'm a huge journaler. I always
Yeah.
have been. And that's where a lot of
I
this
I
came
love it
from.
too. I love it too.
Yeah.
It, it feels weird when you first start. I
Yeah.
remember when I first started, I was like, "Okay, this is weird." And
Right.
it's like I figured out that it was different to journal than
Hmm.
having a diary. Like, whenever I
Yes.
was a kid and I had a diary, it was like I wrote my
Right.
secrets or I wrote what I did or,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
journaling to me is more about what I felt when I did what I
Yeah.
did, like, how did I
Right.
feel when this happened or that happened, and I don't know, it's just different. It has become much deeper and
Oh, yeah.
kind of more spiritual. It's not just like, went to the movies, had, enchiladas for dinner or
Right,
whatever. It wasn't like
right.
that anymore. It's
My husband held my hand,
your husband
you
held
know,
my hand,
and
but it might be more
right?
like what I felt like if he held my hand, like uh,
Yeah, yeah.
that part of that. So, yeah,
Well, and,
journaling's great.
and there's so many beautiful parts of journeying. There's the unsent letter, which is writing a letter to
Mhm.
somebody that you're never gonna send
Yeah,
it to. And then you can keep it or you can burn it. I
yeah,
wrote a lot of unsent letters that I just burnt because I didn't
yeah,
wanna flip back through the journal and see those.
yeah,
But, there's writing the eulogy,
mhm,
grief,
yeah,
eulogizing, I this is a big thing that I've learned is that we grieve the relationships that we thought we would have. Like,
yeah,
maybe we don't have a great relationship with our mom or our dad or, pick a person.
mhm,
You grieve that because you had built it in your mind to be this one thing, and it's not that. And it might not ever be that. And
yeah,
so, journaling that eulogy of that will allow you to release that. And then this is where it gets really exciting. Neuroplasticity comes in and you can create a whole new pathway, right?
absolutely.
And
I'm
I'm
looking for
actually
this thing that I saw that keep talking, but I just wanted you to know what I'm doing. I'm looking for something that to me
you're
fits in
good.
so much. Oh, okay.
I actually created a guided visualization meditation around imagining our minds as a garden and
Uh-huh.
those things that no longer benefit us, those pathways. Going to that pathway and giving gratitude to it and picking the weeds and getting all of this stuff out of it and then going to our little shed in our mind and
Mhm.
filling our little wagon full of all of the tools that we need to build a gate to close that off permanently and then like turning around and never looking back at it and
Mhm.
going in a different way. And those pathways, we might not know why that pathway's there. We might not
Absolutely.
know how, like, we just, you know, as little kids grew up in this garden that had these pathways, and
Mhm.
every Sunday we just go down this pathway because that's what we've always done, and we don't
Exactly.
realize what it is. And then one day you start thinking, why am I headed down this pathway? Like, I didn't even build this pathway.
Yeah.
And and it's a way to visualize in your mind for visual thinkers, but it's also a deep guided meditation of closing up that pathway and then choosing where you build a new pathway. And guys,
Mhm.
there you go. There's your surface level of neuroplasticity.
I found this sign on Temu. I mean, let's be real. But
Timo.
anyway, I'm buying it. It's like $1.63. So I'm
There
gonna
you
buy
go.
it. And it says, "Sometimes you have to let go of the picture of what you thought life would be like and learn to
Ah,
find the joy in the story you are actually living." And I just thought
right.
that that was just so, I don't know. To me, it was very profound. I mean, I
Yeah.
in what I'm
No,
going through at the moment and everything,
it is. And if
Yeah.
I made a bad face, I'm sorry. There was a telemarketer calling me, and it didn't let me hang up straight away.
Yeah.
It really is because we do have to grieve what we thought something would be.
Yeah.
Um, maybe that's even a version of us, a
Mhm.
relationship.
Absolutely.
Like there are so many things, and I think that when you can combine the two, I just think it allows for such deeper, powerful healing. And by the way, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist, this is not
Yeah.
medical, like, this is just me listening to a bunch of really, really smart people
Mhm.
and going, "What do you do?" Like,
Yeah.
"How is this?" Like I said, like Chase Hughes, Dr. Gabor Mate, everybody literally
Yeah.
that I could listen to, shaman from the Andes, what I mean? Um, And but there is something very real, we have these, and it's actually, it's a way that people program our brain. We are
Mhm.
getting programmed a lot. And guys, I promise I'm not going in a weird direction with this, I swear. But, even the way that like we're as women are taught that we need to look or be seen, like
Mhm.
especially my generation, I'm gonna be 50 in February. So if you're in that generation, like we've seen the Claudia Schiffers and the Cindy Crawfords. And if you're a short person like me and you lie to say that you're 5 foot tall, you see these big tall models and you're
Yeah.
just like, I'm never gonna be that. And and this is, I'm not bagging on it, but blonde hair and blue eyes, guys, I always wanted
Yeah.
blonde hair and blue eyes. That is not,
It ain't that
I
great.
look really, yeah. I do not like, I tried to go blonde once. It was awful. It washed me
Yeah.
out. It was so horrible. But it's not who I am, and
Mhm.
for so long, we compare ourselves to that, or we think I should be here. And you
Absolutely.
hear these you hear these stories, and the funny thing is a lot of people say to me, um eh, that they, wish that they had my life. They're like, "Oh, it must be cool to drive that car. Or it must be so
Yeah.
fun to knock around in an RV." But what you're not seeing
Yeah.
is
That's part of
all of the
it.
times on the side of the road that we had our asses hanging out the front end of a car because we were fixing something on it that broke, or
Yeah.
that we lived in a tent and ate once a day, or,
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you combined all the times that we lived in a tent, we lived in a tent for about 2 years, all
Wow.
over, because we couldn't afford. We just could not afford to
Yeah.
stay, where we were, even though my husband had a job. He was
Yeah.
paying 2 grand a month in child support, so
Mhm.
a huge chunk of it was gone.
Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
you don't see that part of it. And even the story of how we got our bus is really kind of sad because we have 8 grandbabies. We've got 7 earthly grandbabies and 1 heavenly grandbaby. And the heavenly grandbaby, my husband quit his job to go, be with that particular mom, and that ended up not working out, of the kids. But because he quit his job, he was able to get his 401k, which is how we were able to buy this. So
Yeah.
it's bittersweet that we have it.
Yeah.
So, we see this stuff that looks really good and we think we should
Yeah.
be there. And you don't have to be. Michael and I were talking about buying a house in Washington, in Anacortes, which is our favorite place. And he's like, we could probably do that next year. And if you look at the houses in Anacortes, they start at $500,000. And I'm
Mhm.
like, do I want that at 50?
Yeah.
And and I told him, I said, look, I'm good. Let's just upgrade the RV. I don't need a house. Just
Yeah.
because everybody has a house doesn't
Yeah.
mean that that's what's best for us. And,
Mhm.
we've made it 12 years where, we just use my mom's address or my brother's address, and, we've made it work. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's what everybody, and it's really difficult when everybody's telling you, you've got to settle down, you're getting older,
Oh, I
blah, blah, blah,
know.
blah, blah,
Mhm.
and, but there's a part of me that's like, you know what? I owned a house and I did that thing. And
Mhm.
I don't want to do that thing again. I'm fine
Yeah.
to not do that thing. And so there's that other part that is, you have to be okay with being the odd one out, of
Mhm.
like, yeah, you know what? If I'm spending $500,000 on something, y'all, it's not a house. Like,
Yeah.
I will drive
Yeah.
my little RV. Well, it's not little, but I will drive my RV, wherever. But and it's those expectations,
Yeah.
And honestly, I think my mom kind of grieved some of that. Like, she wanted me to have a big fancy house and all
Mhm.
of the kids and grandbabies around, and that's just not how my life looks.
Yeah.
It's just not where it's at. And so it's okay to kind of grieve
Mhm.
that, in that way. But it's also important that you stand up and say who you are, you
Mhm.
know?
Well,
Maybe.
talking about house versus RV kind of thing,
Mhm.
it reminds me of Mark and I's existence here. I've said before
Yeah.
that I kind of have a pride, shame, kinda like a love-hate, but this is like a pride, shame existence on this land that we live on because,
Yeah.
my family got it in the land run. And so there's
Okay.
this pride that my family's
Right.
had this 160 acres since the land run,
Yeah.
and my shame that my family stole this land, you know, in the land run. And
Right.
so it's kind of a give and
Right.
take kind of thing on it. But so
Yeah.
anyway, when we were going to move out here, I was dead set against it. I was dead set
Yeah.
against moving out here, and yet this is
Mhm.
where I felt the most safe, the most
Yeah.
comfortable and everything, and yet whenever I started thinking about, building a home and everything on this land,
Mhm.
I would kind of completely just have almost like a panic attack. And
Yeah.
so Mark and I sat together and talked about it, and so we ended up buying a it's a modular home, but it's kinda like
Yeah.
a fancy double wide,
Right. Right.
And
There's
and,
some beautiful.
oh yeah, my reasoning for it and, like, our sidewalks and stuff are like pebbles,
Yeah.
like river
Mhm.
rock and stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Our reasoning is because my daughters I don't know if this is where they're gonna always wanna live now or I didn't 23 years ago when we did this, but,
Right.
one of them actually lives out here now. So, yeah, she probably will always live here, but she kinda has the
Right.
same feeling about things that I do. But anyway, we
Right.
didn't know if the girls would want to live here. We have 2. How do you split a house in 2 if we were to, when we're gone? What are they
Right.
gonna do with
Right.
the house? And I didn't
Right.
there's a deal in the will that my grandfather had and that my dad
Mhm.
has that the land goes to me, but we can't sell it. And
Mhm.
so I mean, we can, but it has to be like I think it's my grandkids' generation can sell it, but before that, we're not
Mhm.
supposed to sell it unless it's in the
Mhm.
family. And so,
Right.
I thought, what are we gonna do if we build this big fancy house and we die in a plane crash or something? Morbid Susie, But
Well, hey,
what happens to the house? I mean, is it just
yeah.
gonna sit there and rot? And so we decided that buying something that could be taken apart and moved out is the way
Mhm.
for us to go, and I am so,
Yeah.
like, at peace with that decision, but
Right.
then at the
Right.
same time, we have others that are like, well, one of Mark's sisters is a little bit snobby, the other one's not, but one of
No.
them kind of is, and it's like she, like, made comments about, "Oh, are you gonna, like, pull your trailer over here, for holidays and stuff?" And first of all, I lived in an RV for years with my ex-husband. He traveled for his
Right.
work, and I felt
Right.
very comfortable in that too. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, we rented a house so that we weren't, like, tied to, a home while we were traveling all over the country. And
Right.
so
Right.
yeah, but she's, like, made several comments over the past several years, and I thought, "You know what? I paid as much for my, trailer as you did for your home, and I
Yeah.
have all this land, and,
Right.
you've got neighbors that you can almost reach out your window and high five,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so
Right.
it's just so weird, like, the things that work for you, and in your
Yeah.
situation, if that RV is what works for you, then girl, live and
Yeah.
breathe in that RV, have
Oh,
live your best life in that RV and don't ever let anybody make
yeah.
you think that you need to have that big house. Because when Mark and I first got married, we had people that were like, "Oh, because he has a really good job, he makes a
Mhm.
very, very good income." Um,
Mhm.
and they were, like, kind of urging us to have a
Yeah.
house that looked
Right.
smart, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
and
Right.
so now
Right.
I'm just like, "That's not us. That is just not us." And they tease me because, like, I shop at the Goodwill and I shop on Temu and buy things like that sign and stuff, and
Right.
and I'm like, "You know what? I am not tied to things. I want
Yeah.
what is." I mean, we've been married for 23 years, and I've probably redecorated from top to bottom our living room 3 or 4 times and
Yeah.
and not really spent much money,
Right.
but it's like, what am I what part of life am I in now? What am I feeling
Yeah.
now? What is,
Mhm.
you know, me today, not what was me
Mhm.
20 years ago that I'm still stuck with because I spent
Right.
a small fortune getting it. So, yeah,
Right.
I don't know,
Right.
that was kinda off
Well,
the thing, but
and
kinda at the same time not?
it's and it's difficult too, when you're expected to kind of look a certain part,
Uh-huh.
because your husband or you, I mean, it doesn't have to be the husband, women can be the breadwinners too, because
Absolutely.
you are at a certain income. When you have something that doesn't look like that, people can be very unkind,
Mhm.
but um it it might be putting you in a better position, and so it's so sad. What
Mhm.
hurts my heart is, when I hear stories like that, my first thought is not to you, but to
Yeah.
like your sister-in-law. Like, who hurt you? Like,
Yeah.
what happened in your life
Yeah.
that that made you, like, what kind of trauma is at the core of you that you have to be seen? And it would be that she probably maybe wasn't she didn't feel seen at
Mhm.
various points in her life, or
Yeah.
maybe, like, I'm just making stuff up, but it could be that somebody doesn't feel seen currently, and so having these big things make them seen,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of that too, I look at people as archetypes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's that archetype, or that's this archetype," and when I can understand that, or, like, what's important to somebody, is it significance? Is it feeling important and, like, look at this thing that I've got, or is it power, or, like, what is it? It helps me to understand them, and if I can
Mhm.
understand the bright side, I can understand the unhealed side. And then that helps me to see them as a person, because used to people like that would just infuriate me and I'd be like, "Yeah," but
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate when
Yeah.
people just see you as your possession,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely,
It-
because and we've got a troll in the chat that seems to think that the reason that I'm with Mark is because of the lifestyle and the money, and my point was that no, the reason that I'm with Mark is because none of that matters to either one of us.
right,
He
right,
has a good job because he's had that same job for 30 something years, and he
right,
went to college to learn how to
right.
do that job. He's an engineer. And,
Well,
you know, the money and stuff don't matter. It's the memories. It's not the
mhm,
things. It's the memories and the adventures and all that we have. And so, yeah,
right.
Mayor, if you haven't already, you might get rid of Thomas if he's being
Well,
a dick.
and to that troll, bless your
Yeah.
heart, and I
Yeah.
really hope that you find what fulfills you and makes you happy in life,
Yeah.
because you you might not
Obviously
be
aren't.
feeling very
Yeah.
loved and appreciated right now. And
Absolutely.
so, in order for you to feel loved and appreciated, you can do positive things,
Yeah.
and you can be positive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, does it
Trolls
make
are
him
fun.
feel better to come on to something that obviously he's never been to?
Yeah. Yeah, I would get a few trolls. I There was one time on my channel, I got a troll and I was like, "Nope, we're
Yeah.
done. You need to go."
Yeah, I am trying to figure out I think I'm hoping that Mayor can just, like, get rid of him.
Oh,
Oh, there we
yeah.
go. I
Oh,
can actually do that one.
yeah, I
Yay.
think I should be
I
able
got rid
to.
of
Well,
him. If they hadn't already, I did.
you
So,
know, um,
I have had trolls, and the ones that bother me are, like, the ones that I think that, actually have been around long enough to know me and to know that
yeah.
or that they should know how I really am, but for somebody
Mhm.
that's never been on the channel to come on and say I'm fake and that I have makeup on to make my face look wider, I don't know why I
Yeah,
would want my
I
face to look wider.
Oh
It's
gosh.
so funny. They're
Yeah.
almost comical until they start kinda taking over, and then I'm like, "Okay," when there's, like, 6 comments in a row, my chat
Yeah.
deserves better than that, because I mean, we say
Right.
that this is a safe place for everybody, and
Well,
so, you know
and but too, I mean, it's it hurts your soul a little bit that
Yeah,
there are people that just kind of, are in this and like, what dimension did you wake up in?
yeah,
Well,
and
the one that I
honestly,
did.
yeah, I when I see people like that come on channels, and not just mine, but other people that I'm
Right.
watching other channels, yeah,
Right.
I really like you said, "Who hurt you?" "What hurt
Right.
you?" That kind of thing,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't know, does that make you feel better? And I think that honestly, I know that that could
It
be like
does.
this, like, kind of a, you know, I don't know, a I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, but, just like a little comeback, but I don't mean it as like a comeback.
Right.
I mean it
Right.
like, does that make you feel better, and
Mhm.
why? Why would that make you feel better?
Right.
That kind of a
Well, and
thing.
and in that example, I mean, somebody's doing that to why would anybody troll? To be seen.
Yeah.
To be seen.
So
They
maybe
want
they've
to be
not been
seen.
seen.
Exactly. So in their lives, they're probably somebody
Mhm.
that, in their opinion, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know this person, and yeah, I'm
absolutely.
not, you
Absolutely.
know, but could feel like they're not worth a lot, that their words
Mhm.
only mean something when they can hurt and get a rise
Mhm.
out of somebody. And so
Absolutely.
that's their ability to be seen,
Mhm.
and so, just like Thomas, what, I see you. And you're
Yeah.
welcome to stay here if you can be nice. But, or the other side is they're just a really wretched person,
Yeah. And I
and
don't know
they're
which it
they're
is.
they're really not, they're part of that dark triad or something that no one's gonna understand. But, I think more than not with, bullies and trolls, I think it's just they just don't feel seen. They need to take some control back, some power back in their life,
Mhm.
because their power is being taken away somewhere else. They have to feel, um, powerful and important, because they might not be powerful and important. And I mean,
Mhm.
and think of ourselves. There's been plenty of times in my life where, you know, and I've said this a lot. I repeat myself a lot.
Mhm. I do
It's a
too.
thing that I do, and I do it because I don't think you heard me the first 5 times that I said
Yeah.
it,
I
right?
know.
And so
I
it's just
know.
like I'm repeating it because you're not listening to me. And that's my fight, and then at some point I freeze and I'm just like, "I'm done. I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm done." But, and again, that's where, like, that just kind of helps you to understand people. Yeah, I'm really sorry that you are feeling so unseen and so
Mhm.
insignificant in your life, that you feel
Yeah.
that this is an appropriate place to come and be seen. Like, that hurts
Mhm.
my heart for you. And I
Mhm.
and I and I really hope that whatever is going on in your life, you can feel seen and
Mhm.
you can
I know
feel heard.
because, like, whenever I see the trolls, I mean, there's gonna be some
Yeah.
that, like, they
Oh,
know
yeah.
me well enough to know what buttons to push to piss me off,
Mhm.
but, like,
Mhm.
random people like that, it doesn't
Mhm.
hurt me. It doesn't make me mad. I
Right.
honestly I'm just like, "Okay, that's what you got from this?" I would
I mean,
that's just interesting to me. I'm very interested in
yeah,
what makes people tick, what makes them,
yeah.
behave the way that they do or, speak that the way that they do. I find it really interesting. So it's like, I'm kind of like low key studying as they're saying
And
stuff. I'm like,
right,
what is
and
this?
that's
You know?
and that's exactly where I came from with this whole
Yeah.
thing that I created, was like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why
Why?
are we doing this? Like, at the end of the day, what
Yeah.
and why? And it's
Yeah.
kind of like a profiler, I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of feel like a little bit of I'm gonna say NCI, but that's not right. CSI or
Yeah,
like Mindhunter or something where
yeah,
the
those
like the
kind of things.
FBI profiles somebody, you know. But it does, when you start looking at things that way, it really does change how you see people and
Mhm.
how you see things, and just the look in their eyes. And you know, even it's gotten so bad, y'all. I was watching, Michael wanted to watch The Grinch with Jim Carrey. All right, I'm
Uh-huh.
not a huge Jim Carrey fan, but that movie is kind of cute, and so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
I
I'm
like
watching this, and I am like psychoanalyzing The Grinch. I'm like, well, clearly he's got impulse control problems.
I do that too.
He's got an avoidant attachment style, which is due to this in his life. He's got anxiety around this. I'm like
Yeah,
psychoanalyzing the Grinch, and my husband's like, "Oh, isn't that funny?" And I'm like, "It's actually really sad for the
I
Grinch
know.
because of this. He was, you know." And then I'm like, "I've got to turn it off." But
Yeah,
then the only things that I love to watch, and Michael, bless his heart, Forensic Files, anything on like, you know, like psychology of people, like I
yeah.
want to dive into it, you
Oh,
know.
me
I listen
too.
to it. I was so proud of
Me too.
myself the other day. I was listening to someone tell a story. It was a true story, and it's a very messed up story.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was about, but anyway, oh, no, no, no. It was on this other YouTube channel. He was talking about this person that was hiking in the back country, and like, you know, it
Yeah.
went pear-shaped. But he was talking about that, and I'm like, "Oh, well, okay, this sounds like anti antisocial personality disorder. Okay, so he fits this and this and this and this." And I'm like, "Oh, wait. No. Now we've hopped over to this because he's paranoid, and that's not this. So then that means it's got to be this." And so then I start
Oh,
going through the
wow.
checklist, and I'm like, my mind has got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I get into those where I, like, absolutely analyze everything to, like, try to
Yeah.
discover why people are doing things that they're doing and all that.
Yeah.
And now
Right.
I've kinda been on this deal where I'm turning it on myself and trying to figure out why
Mhm.
I'm doing the things that I do. And,
Yeah.
I had talked to you before about that I figured out that I, have that there are things that I've been lying to myself about, and that is a really
That's
tough
hard.
one to deal with when you figure out that, you're being honest with other people, but you're lying to yourself about things. and
Yeah.
and boy, I tell you, that's been, something. And since I kind of discovered that, I find myself now that I'll stop and I'll be like, "Now wait a minute.
Right.
That's
Right.
not
Well,
that's not 100% true,"
um,
Not when I'm dealing with other people. This
yeah,
is an
yeah, yeah, yeah,
internal
yeah.
dialogue.
Right. 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 Right.
'Cause I
Right.
find
Yep.
myself being very honest with other people. I will tell the truth about me with other
Right.
people. I'm not like, I don't hide things and all that. I'm very upfront, but I will lie to myself about how I'm feeling about things, like
Yeah.
how I'm experiencing things. And so
Yeah.
it's been a ride. It is. I wrote
It,
you that big old long email. I was like, and then this, and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
I'm like, she's gonna be
No.
like, block.
No, 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 never. Well, and and the next deeper question to that would be, what are you protecting yourself
Yeah,
from?
yeah.
Because I know in my healing journey, guys, I am a minimizer. I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's not this big deal," or "It's
Yeah.
me," or whatever. And I'll never forget the moment that I felt truly, truly seen. It was
Mhm.
when Carol had her channel up with Needing a Meeting, and somebody said to me, and Ben has even said it to me a couple of times, like, "Even I didn't go through that," or "You are really making this much smaller than this
Yeah.
actually is." It took me a long time to be honest with myself about the depths of the abuse that I suffered. Because for so long, that's part of gaslighting, is that it's
Mhm.
your fault, you did it, you're the one that's messed up in the head. And I was like, well, I was misdiagnosed for 5 years, and I had this, and I did that, and I did this.
Yeah.
And then, there's something about when you start being honest with yourself and you really
Mhm.
start facing the things that are real and you quit minimizing them,
Mhm.
it really kinda hits you hard, because, I kinda thought that I went my childhood really was not bad. It wasn't a bad childhood. I had a great
Yeah, me
childhood
too.
for a most part. Now, it was very chaotic in a lot of ways, and, but,
Mhm.
um and my mom wasn't around a lot, which caused me to have some abandonment issues, but that's gonna happen. But
Mhm.
a lot of my trauma happened in my adult life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing that I kept getting told by my mom, and I'll never forget this, this used to hurt so bad. She said to me, and she would look me square in the eyes and she would say, I would never allow myself to be treated that way. And it's like,
Yeah.
but I didn't see it coming. I didn't
Yeah.
see it. My dad seen it. My dad was like, Don't marry this guy. Like, this is bad news.
Yeah.
Do not do this." And I was like, "What do you know?" Of course, because I was 23. But
Oh, heck, I
that's
was
hard.
18.
Yeah. And
I
that's
was
hard.
18.
That's
Yeah.
hard when somebody says, "I would never." Well, but would you? Because you don't know. And then there's like another level of shame that comes with that,
Yeah.
right? Because then people look at you, and maybe it's your own family and they're like, you were raised better than this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, was I? Like, and that's not putting
Yeah.
stuff back on anybody, but it's just like, but I was raised to be truthful and honest and accepting and
Yeah.
meek and humble and submissive. And those are not bad things. If any of
Yeah.
you guys out there are like that, that's not a bad thing. I'm humble and submissive to my husband, but my husband doesn't ask me to do really messed up stuff either,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And so
It
so
kinda
th so
works
there's
both
this.
ways.
So right, but I didn't understand that, and I just thought I was just being a good wife, and then
Mhm.
I get through all of it, and so, like, here was the push-pull of it, so then I find out my dad's sick, and, my mom is saying things like, "I would never allow that to happen to me. I cannot imagine that you
Ugh.
did that. Like, I did not raise you that way." And it's like, "Well, you kinda weren't around to raise me, so you're right. You didn't
Yeah.
raise me that way." And, I mean, there's that. And then you take all of it on yourself, like, and you start blaming other people. That's the
Mhm.
first step in healing is you're blaming others. You're like, well, it's his fault he did this, and your fault you did this. And then as you go the next step down the path, you're like, well, but you know
Yeah.
what? I threw plates too.
Yeah.
And I spent more money than I should have too. And
Yeah.
I was not honest either. And then you
Yeah.
get to the point where it's like it doesn't matter who did what.
Yeah.
It's, you know, your highest consciousness. And then it gets to the point of healing the community.
Mhm.
And so, and everybody goes through that. So if you're at the point where you're kind of pointing the finger at other people, that's fine. I mean, like, you kinda
Mhm.
have to do that because it's a way for you to accept what's happened to you, because
Mhm.
you can't when you're that raw, you can't just put that all on yourself straight out the gate, right?
Mhm.
But then there was, like, this other layer of I was an adult,
Yeah.
and that's different because then you think, "Well, I should have known better."
Mhm.
But should I? Should I
I
have? Like, who says I should have known better? And
Yeah.
and that's another thing when people I have a couple clients that I work with and they say, "Well, they say," well, who's they?
Yeah.
Who's they? Like, and why do they get all of this say in your life
Mhm.
when it's your life? Like,
Yeah.
you're the one that's experiencing this. And
Absolutely. I'm
it's
learning that
made
one.
right, and it's made me more compassionate because, it's like it is it is your experience, and
Mhm.
it is real, and it hurts, and it's valid,
Yeah.
and it's big, and it's painful, and, you hear all of this, like, distancing languages, like, "Well, he used to hurt me." No. no, Christy, that's not what happened. Like, say the words of what happened.
Yeah.
Because when you feel that impact, when you're ready to face that truth and feel that
Mhm.
impact, it hits different.
Yeah.
And then you look at what was going on right then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why what caused this? And then you kind of get stuck in this rabbit hole of why did it happen? Why did I allow this? Well, the why doesn't matter
Yeah.
as much as what are you going to do with it now?
Mhm.
Like, so
Yeah, we
okay,
can't get
maybe
stuck on the why. We have to, we have to, like, okay, we have to acknowledge the why, but not get stuck there. Is
exactly. And maybe the why is I was married to a clinical narcissist and that's why. Okay, so
Yeah.
then what does that mean? Well, it means A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right?
Yeah.
But what's more important is I get to choose. And I
Mhm.
think that's where the deepest healing happens is when you start seeing, these things and instead of blaming, you just
Mhm.
go to how do I process this?
Yeah.
How do I move forward with this knowledge? Um
Yeah.
and and it does start with yourself. And that's why in this we start with ourselves. We start with,
Mhm.
hey, so maybe you're and we've all been there. If we look
Mhm.
back on anything that we have integrated, we can all point to periods where we blamed other people, but
Oh,
we can
yeah.
also point to periods where we took responsibility, and we point to
Mhm.
periods where we said, you know what, it doesn't matter. What matters is going forward,
Mhm.
and how do I learn from this? But
Yeah,
we all kind of
absolutely.
have to go through those steps. And so don't beat yourself up if you're in that first step. It doesn't mean you're failing and it doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're doing anything wrong.
I,
It just
I
means
talked
you're at
to
the
you.
start.
I talked to you about that a little bit,
Yeah.
privately, about that I
Mhm.
had, and I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail because I'm not
Mhm.
trying to throw shade at anybody, but,
Mhm. Mhm.
I talked to you about the fact that I had just kind of gotten hit in the face with the realization of what some relationships in my life really were, and
Yeah.
that I was being lied to, and that I
Mhm.
was kind of being, like, I can't get the word, but, like, um, there was kinda some stuff going on behind the scenes to work against me, basically,
Yeah.
and so I was very much in that blame others stage when I figured that
Mhm.
out. I don't think I was
Mhm.
before. I was accepting all the blame, like, that everything in the world that
Right.
was going wrong was my fault.
Mhm.
Then
Right.
suddenly I had this realization of what in the hell was going on, and I realized, "Hey, wait a minute."
Right.
And so it was real easy to kind of put the blame on these other people. And I still
Mhm.
kind of find myself falling back to that a little bit, but I am
Mhm.
in this thing now where I'm kind of discovering what I did that made them able to do that.
Right.
What was my part in it? And
Yeah.
why, because some of what was going on is so freaking obvious once I accepted it that was happening. So what
Mhm.
about myself was enabling that
Right.
and trying to change that? Because I can't change them. I can't change, what
Right.
happened, and I can't change their reasonings for whatever they did to me and stuff, and every once in a while, I'm not gonna lie, like, a couple nights ago, I was having a little pity party and a little petty party
I mean,
and
we all
being a
do it.
little petty about some stuff,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it felt almost healing in a weird way because it was more of a, I don't know, it wasn't a blaming them for the way that they are, it was, like, kind of thinking, "Wow, it's so great that I know that now, and
Yeah.
I can move past it, and I'm not the same person that would allow for that anymore, I'm gonna be able
Mhm.
to see it coming, I hope," you know? And so now I don't take the things that were negatively affected by a couple of people, I
Mhm.
don't blame them for that anymore, I don't blame myself either. It
Right.
was what it was. It was a time, and I'm
And
kinda looking at why I allowed that, and that's it's a little deep when you start like, what about myself allowed for
Mhm.
that to happen?
And it is deep because you're forced to face your own shortcomings.
Mhm.
Or the parts of you that, like, if you are, we always hear about the narcissist and the empath, right? "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
so empathetic that the narcissist feeds off of me."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you were in all you could eat buffet for 9 years.
Yeah.
Christy, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And you do have to get angry, and again, that's
Yeah.
not grieving what you thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But, I believe that, and this is just, and not everybody's going to believe me or believe the same way that I do, and that's totally okay. I believe that we have contracts with people in our lives. Now, this
Mhm.
doesn't mean that all of the really bad, horrible things that happened to you, you signed up and agreed to. That is
Yeah.
not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear about that, right?
Yeah.
People can impose their own messed up stuff
Absolutely.
on you, and that's called free will, and that's not what I'm talking about here. But for me, what helped me personally, and the reason that I talk about archetypes and contracts in this um, healing thing that we're going to do, is because you know, if you want to learn forgiveness,
Mhm.
you have to have something to forgive.
Mhm.
And if you want to learn deep forgiveness, you have to have a really deep thing to forgive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so what does that look like in life?
Mhm.
If that's the lesson. And so when I look at my life and I look back, and I believe that, when before we incarnate, when we're up in the
Yeah.
energy, wherever that
Yeah.
is up
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
we decide, we're like, I would really like to learn about forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then the masters are like, that's amazing. Yep. Okay. So Christy needs to learn about forgiveness. Who wants to help Christy learn about forgiveness? Well, somebody raises their hand, and like, this is how I see it with my ex, and I'm just going to use me as a story. So they're like,
Mhm.
Christy's going to have to learn some deep forgiveness here.
Mhm.
So who's willing to be the person to hurt her so badly that she's got to learn this lesson?
Yeah.
Who wants to go down on earth and be the jerk? Who wants to do that? And my ex raised his hand and said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it so she can learn that. And that was the only way I could get past not hating him.
Mhm.
It was the only way that and it took me well, I forgave him a long time before that, because
Yeah, but
our kids were
true
well, and
forgiveness.
I truly gave him because I was like, I don't want to be that mom that's
Yeah.
like always like, oh, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to be that person. So I had to find something that he did that I could either hang on to, or that could allow me to let go. And and I think I might have shared this. I've kind of shared this a lot. I don't remember where I've shared it or not, but there was a point where I was going to unalive myself, and my
Yeah.
kids were upstairs, and he saved my life. And I really don't know what is a bigger thing than that.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that I held on to. And then when I
Yeah.
learned about sacred contracts and I started learning about this stuff, I thought, man, you know what? Like, he's he signed up to be the person to do that to me
Yeah.
so that I could learn this lesson. And it had to
Mm.
be it had to be like that,
Yeah.
because I know me, and I wouldn't have learned it if it wasn't that way. And there's a statistic out there, and I didn't even know the statistic, but of like, people that are in really severe narcissistic,
Yeah.
psychopathic, abusive relationships, there's only like, it's like 5% or
Yeah.
1% that leave them. Most of the time they get left.
Mhm.
That narcissist will move on.
Yeah.
But it's a small percentage of people that leave.
Yeah.
And I was beating myself up so bad, and I had a psychiatrist be like, "But do you understand the strength that it took for you to do what you
Oh,
did?"
yeah.
And I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand it for a long time. I was like, again, that was that minimizing thing. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Great. Okay, thanks. Sure, whatever. Okay. Rock on, Christy." But then when I learned what narcissism is and
Yeah.
what antisocial is and what that looks like and what that does and how that affects your brain and how that affects your cortisol and your hormones, and not just one tiny little part of your brain, it affects the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
And how, when that is affected and triggered, it shuts other parts of your body down. It's
Mhm.
in such deep protection mode. So when
Mhm.
I stopped minimizing that and I really looked at it, um, that's where that spiritual side came in. And I was like, you know what? I would never want to be that person for anybody.
Mhm.
But in a way, I'm really thankful that he was, because now it allows me to appreciate the husband that I do have so much
Exactly,
more.
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with
And I'm, and my husband does not even like to hear his name.
yeah.
He does not. Oh, he just, it makes his blood boil. So I don't talk about it, which is also kind of why I wanted to do this in the middle of the day instead
Yeah.
of at night. But and I understand that, because you don't want to see somebody that you really love be abused
Mhm.
in that way. But
Yeah.
you know, these understanding these things, the archetypes and the soul contracts, and looking at what is the lesson, what is the real lesson that I was taught, and
Mhm.
it was taught, and the thing that I learned before I learned any of the spiritual stuff was that I'm strong enough to leave.
Mhm.
Like, I don't have to stay. I'm strong enough
Absolutely.
to leave. And when I met my husband, um I told him, my sister-in-law kind of got on to me about this, but then she sort of understood. I was like, look, I don't need you, but I
Yeah,
want you.
that's
And
what
I want you
I
to
feel more connected
understand,
to.
I don't need you to be okay. I don't
Mhm.
need you to financially support me. You are not, you're not coming in here saving me. You are not the savior.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay.
Mhm.
I'm good. And you're coming along this journey because, at least for this part, I want you here and the universe wants
Mhm.
you with me for this part. But do not think that I am completely dependent on you, because that's
Absolutely.
not the case.
I had
And
been at times very dependent on my ex-husband. Now,
yeah,
there were times that I was the breadwinner and winning really good bread, I was doing
right,
well.
right,
But for
right,
the
right.
majority of our 17 years married, I was dependent on him a lot, and so when Mark and I got together, I very much had that same conversation with him, and I said,
Yeah,
"Listen, I will never be dependent on you ever." You know,
right.
you might make more money than me, obviously,
Mhm,
but I am never going to be financially, emotionally, anything completely dependent on somebody again. I just won't. I can
mhm,
love you with every ounce of me,
mhm.
but I can't exist because you exist. I have to be able
Right,
to exist on my own. And I mean, emotionally and spiritually, absolutely, but also
right.
even financially, when we were dating, the entire time that we dated, he had to, like, fight for me not to pay my way to everything, like,
Right,
I would be like,
right.
"No, we're splitting the check. No, we're doing this. No."
Yeah.
We'd go to the movies or something, and we'd even have the girls because we laughed. We didn't have very many dates that I didn't take the girls with us just because that was well, for one thing, my ex-husband was saying that he would that I would never see the girls if he I'd never see him again if he
Oh,
knew that I had left them at home, and they were teenagers. It wasn't like I was leaving
right,
babies.
right, right,
But so
right,
I was
right.
always so scared, that I took
Yeah.
them with me everywhere. And
Mhm.
so I would pay their way, and he'd be like, "I can take you guys to the movie." I mean, we would go to the dollar
Right.
movie, and I'd be like, I got this,"
Right. Well,
It's
and what,
ridiculous, but
and that is a result of the trauma that you
yeah,
suffered.
absolutely.
And then the healed version of that looks like, I understand and you understand that I'm going to be okay whether you're here or not, but
Yeah,
I can allow myself to receive your love and your
absolutely.
gratitude and your generosity, and
Mhm.
understand that it is not a reflection on me. Now, I will
Yeah,
tell you, my biggest trauma is money. I
yeah,
have a huge money trauma. Man, you want
I
to
do
see me
too.
turn into a really, like, gremlin, like, come at me with money. You're
Mhm.
gonna see a side of me that is not
I have
pretty.
trauma around money too. I
Yeah.
really do.
And and when you've been financially abused, it's
Mhm.
hard not to have it. And what I'm learning and what I'm working through right now, right this moment, I had a very hard time. I was talking with Karina. She is an amazing person. She's a friend. I've
Mhm.
known her forever. She's been on my channel.
She is
She's
amazing.
wonderful. She is so amazing. And I really don't care if I charge for things or don't. I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't care. I'll give it away. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But she and I had a point where I was like, but like I've got this stuff and nobody's paying for any of it.
Yeah.
And they'll take it for free, but nobody's paying for any of it, and I don't understand why. And like I've put all of this time and effort and energy into it, and it is worth something, but
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I don't care if it's even worth a dollar to you, like
Yeah.
whatever. And she very in her very beautiful way, she's like, Christy, this isn't about money. She's like, you don't need the money. It's
Yeah.
about your self-worth. And I
Yeah.
was equating money with my self-worth.
Mhm.
And so now what I'm trying to learn is that, I am worth something and there is
Yeah.
value because there's still that residual stuff,
Mhm.
and it's really easy to say it and it's one thing to really believe it. And so uh, and that's kind of now all of this stuff on the YouTube channel that we're doing, all of this, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not monetized. I don't plan on being. There's no subscription. Like, just like the video,
Yeah.
whatever. Just subscribe, like, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, it's something around your worth.
Yeah.
And I found for me that those things that I have really deep struggles with is not about the thing that it is on the surface. It's not about the money
Mhm.
because I don't need your guys' money. And I don't mean
Yeah.
it to sound like that,
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean
it's
though.
like it's like, but it is worth something. And so one of the things I'm
Mhm.
trying to integrate to myself is that money is energy and it's just a tangible form of gratitude.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying, but
Absolutely.
it's hard. And I don't
Yeah.
honestly think I'm really ever going to get past it. Kind of like this body dysmorphia thing. I don't think I'm ever going to get past it. I think that I'm going to have my times. I'm still
Yeah.
going to have times where I mean, we might be in the middle of all of this and I might be like, guys, I gotta go for a month. Like I can't.
Yeah.
But, it's
Mm.
for me, it's helped with that looking at the deeper lesson and seeing, I mean, I do like to see the positive side in people.
Mhm.
And, even, you know, and I'll give you an example. The boat. I
Yeah.
really thought that I was like, I could spot a messed up person from a mile away and all like this. And I had no idea. I thought that I could, and I got taken in and
Yeah.
and then everything blew up. And the moment that I started getting yelled at, the moment that I got that phone call that was
Mm.
yelling at me on the other side of the phone, I got triggered, but I hung up and I was like, this is my boundary.
Yeah.
This is my boundary. You've crossed it and nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. And so I was beating myself up over how did I allow myself to get back in here again? Was this the cult? What was this? Oh my God,
Yeah.
what? Blah, 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 blah. All of the rabbit holes,
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
that was on either side of that thing went down. But
Yeah.
what I realized was what the lesson was that, you know what? You seen it, you stopped it, and you didn't go back.
Yeah.
And that is the lesson. And so here I was over here getting all, wrapped
Yeah.
around the axle about this thing. And it was like, but you're missing the big glaring flashing light of the lesson. And
Yeah.
so that's why it kind of grounds me to be like, what's the lesson? What's the thing? What did I learn? What am I supposed to learn? So even though that person is an awful wretch of a person,
Yeah.
I am. thankful that you know what? In fact, I did learn that lesson,
Yeah.
about
He
when somebody
he must
treats
have
me
raised his
badly.
hand to a lot of, somebody needs to go down and hurt this person, he just had a permanent
Yeah.
hand in the air.
Well,
There's a
and,
lot of people he's hurt.
yeah, yeah, well, or yeah, or he's just learning some other,
Yeah, what's he
you
learning, I
know
guess?
well, it could be, there's a story, it's a I think it's a Buddhist parable, and there's a guy that wants to walk next to Buddha. We're just gonna say Buddha,
Mhm.
okay? Jesus, whatever works for you guys.
Yeah.
Insert higher power here.
Yeah.
Walking next to them, and he wants to study and learn. And
Yeah.
so he's walking next to the Buddha, and he passes somebody who's really hungry in the street and is begging for food, and Buddha just keeps going and ignores him. And the guy's like, did you not wait, woohoo, hey,
Yeah.
hey, hold on,
Yeah.
and then he walks past, a mom and her baby, and they're just begging for someone to be kind to them. And he walks past them, and it's like, oh my, clutch my pearls, oh my God, and so
Yeah.
they get to the end of the thing, and he's like, why did you not help these people? And he goes, well, the first one that was begging for food, in his past life starved lots of people and treated them very badly, and this is that. And the
Mhm.
the mother and the son that were begging for kindness were very unkind. And so if I would have done this, if I would have given them bread, or I would have been kind to them,
Mhm.
like, they wouldn't have learned their lesson. Now, that is not a thing to say, go be a jerk to people
No,
on
I
the
know what you mean, though.
street. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that. But, so it could just be
Everybody's
that,
learning their own lessons.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it could just be that this particular person just has a very, maybe this is what he picked. Maybe he's
Yeah.
just like, you know what? I want to go down and raise hell for and there are
Mhm.
darker soul contracts. I
Mhm.
mean, not every soul contract is an enlightened one. Look at
Mhm.
serial killers.
Yeah,
That's
obviously.
not
Yeah.
of the light.
Mhm.
So, I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything one way or another, but the lesson might not be so much, what is this person's issue, but, like,
Mhm.
hey, you know what? I didn't let it happen again. Or, like,
Yeah.
in my case, I mean, it kind of did a little bit, but as soon as I seen it, I was like, you're done.
Mhm.
That's it. You're done.
I figured out that part of my problem is that I am a people pleaser to some degree. I
Mhm.
I do want to please people, but
Yeah.
I had, like, just some strange happenings in my life that made me believe that I am not a good friend, or I'm not good at friendship kinda deal, like that.
Mhm.
Not that I'm a bad, like, I don't I don't
Mhm.
think that I do things that make me a bad friend. I just mean I'm not good at it. It was kinda how I would
Right.
look at it. And
Right.
so I would really avoid anything that was
Mhm.
uncomfortable in
Mhm.
friendships, because I wanted to maintain those friendships and prove to myself that I was
Mhm.
worthy of friendships. And so I think that, where I was saying that this person did this or this person did that, I
Mhm.
knew that they were doing it, and I lied to myself that and
Mhm.
and pretended like that I didn't know it. But I let
Right.
it be because I wanted to be good enough, to be that person's friend, or to be a friend to somebody. And so now I'm having to really learn that I am a good enough person to be a
Mhm.
friend, and that it's not like that they have to prove that they're good enough to be my friend, but the right people that are meant to be my friends will be in my life. They will come into my life and
Right.
we will be friends. I don't have to hide who I am to be their friend. They don't have to hide who they are to be my friend. It just should happen. And if
Right.
it doesn't, and neither one of us have to be perfect, but I don't have to just be pleasing them, and they don't have to please me. It is a yin and yang. It does go both
Yeah.
ways. But it was really hard for me to figure out that I was really lying to myself and knowing that people were shitting on me, you know,
Well, and
and that I
people
was
pleasing,
allowing it. Yeah.
and uh in the so the podcast that I just got done doing with Amber, she's also on the channel. It's Amber Ascends.
Mhm.
And we kind of talked about that a little bit. And you know, with the way that I grew up, which was in the church, was
Mhm.
I
Me
was
too.
taught to be people pleasing by
Mhm.
being agreeable and being available
Mhm.
and all of these things. And really what it comes down to when you've got somebody who's really concerned with people pleasing is they could feel unloved, they could feel unworthy. It
Mhm.
could be something that they learned as a child that was, like the
Mhm.
meek shall inherit the earth. Well, you tell that to a young kid and they're like, well, yeah, I want to inherit the earth. Okay, I'm going to be meek. Now, again,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you are in here and you're religious, I so appreciate uh your beliefs and value that, and I am not in any way being like crappy toward you. I'm talking about my experience, and so it does make it a little more difficult to say no. It
Mhm.
does make it a little more difficult when, if you're raised in a situation, and my parents really thought they were doing the best thing
Oh, yeah.
possible. For me, I do not doubt that one bit. I was a wild child, and my dad especially was like, "We got to get this one under control. Like
Yeah.
this is gonna go really bad if we don't." So, it's not anything like that as much as it is, with people pleasing. There's a lot of not feeling worthy. Like
Mhm.
I have to do this to be worthy of this person's
Yeah.
love and affection.
Yeah,
When
I that's me
when
too, and a lot of it came from my ex-husband. My
Yeah,
childhood was pretty happy. Like you,
yeah,
I had a pretty good childhood. I think
yeah,
that my
yeah.
trauma definitely came from early adulthood and in
Mhm.
not being worthy. Like I would be like, okay, one of the things that he would say, and I've laughed about it, and then like now I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, wait a minute. Because I
Yeah.
would be like, he would be like, well, you're not, you don't have any friends. Nobody wants to be friends with you, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, well, I just don't like people that, blah, blah, whatever the thing was. And I would be being
Yeah.
legit. Like, I don't like people that are two-faced. I don't like people that,
Mhm.
whatever the thing would be, and why I wasn't being friends with this person that like
Mhm.
he's friend, he would have a friend and I was just supposed to become best friends with their wife. And I'd be like, no, I don't like people that, that I don't like people that, and fill in the blank.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he would constantly come back to me and he'd be just like, "You don't like people, period. Like, you don't like people because, you think you're better than them. You think that, this, you think, whatever." He had a different reason for why I didn't like people, every time he said it,
Yeah.
but it stuck. And so
Mhm.
I suddenly honestly just, and not just since I got my YouTube channel, but in the last probably 10 years or so, I put up with a lot of shit because I wanted to prove to me that I do like people. And the thing is I do like people. I truly
Right.
do. But that
Right.
doesn't mean I
Right.
have to like everybody, and it's
Right.
okay to just not be your tribe, like maybe there's
Right.
nothing really wrong with them. It's just that they're not your people,
Right.
and so I've had to kind of it is this really weird learning process, and,
You
the whole
it is.
thing,
One of
it's
the
just
things
been
I
wild.
used to Yeah, one of the things I used to get told was I was not worth the air that I breathed.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was a hard one to overcome.
yeah.
And, and it's really, really deep when you get to these depths, and you get to somebody who is being that awful to you, that
Mhm,
abusive to you,
mhm.
and I want to encourage you if you're if you're coming out of a relationship like that, you might
Mhm.
not be able to say it yet. You might be like, well, they weren't nice to me. They were
Mhm.
unkind. They
Yeah.
they were opinionated. Um, I failed them in some way.
Mhm.
There's going to come a time and where you're going to realize what it really was they did to you.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage you to say it out loud. I want to
Mhm.
encourage all of you to be like,
And what it really
this,
was,
yeah,
not just
yeah,
the sugar-coated
like,
version.
right, right. Yeah, not like, well, this person kept all of the credit cards because I'm bad with money.
Yeah.
This person financially abused me.
Yeah.
you know well, this person was just controlling because they had to be, because I made bad decisions.
Mhm.
No, this, whatever it was. So, and you might not be there yet, and it's okay to not be there, but you will find that you're healing. There is something, and when you just break down and ugly cry, and I mean shake
Yeah.
and snot and cry
Yeah.
and like blow your nose on your shirt, like scare the dogs, whatever it is you got to do, um, allow yourself to feel with that and sit with that. Because
Mhm.
when you're crying, when you're carrying on, when you're doing that, that's your body releasing that. That
Yeah.
is a release. That's like somatic. Um,
Mhm.
and like feeling your body, getting it out
Mhm.
of your body. The body keeps score. That's a real book,
Yeah.
because that trauma gets stuck in us. So allow yourself to do that and feel that.
Yeah.
Um, it's never easy, and for me it was when I was able to call it what it was. And if you guys have
Mhm.
a good friend or two that you can reach out to, or someone that you trust, share it with them and just be like,
Absolutely.
hey, you know what, I've got to tell you this, guys. I can't tell you how many of my friends have gotten these, like, 3 10-minute long messenger clips because I'm like, and then, but it's because you're speaking it. And when we say what it is, I'm not big on
Yeah.
labels, but
Yeah.
when we say what it is, then it loses power over us, because
Mhm.
it's just like that quote, when we keep secrets, we are fundamentally at war with ourselves.
Mhm.
And when you just put it's like, I don't know if any of you guys ever had brothers or sisters or cousins or anything. It's like,
Yeah.
if you don't do this for me, I'm gonna tell this really bad thing that you did, and you're like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
you see it on TV sitcoms and stuff, and so they're like doing all this stuff, and
Yeah.
finally it just gets to a point where it's like, oh my God, I wrecked the car. Okay,
Yeah.
I stole the car, I backed it into a pole at the gas station, and then I put it
Yeah.
in a ditch. I wrecked it, which, by the
Yeah.
way, is something that I actually did, by the way, when I was in high school. Um, so,
Oh, Lord.
and it just takes the power away, and
Yeah.
then you're like, you don't get to have power over me. Um,
Mm. Yeah, I
did
I
we
I
have
really do
any
believe that.
did we have
Um,
any questions or anything
let
anybody's
me look
been
on here real quick. I didn't have
hanging?
anybody starring them, but I'm gonna go down through here
All
and
right.
see what I can find. I think this is so funny. Marilee says, "Ben has the most ridiculous sense of humor."
Oh, he does. Oh my God, you guys, he said,
He
oh,
does.
it's I love it. Uh,
Yeah, it
It's
was so
it's
funny.
funny.
Last night I had a troll and, uh, and he goes, "Hey, you know, no trolling, that's my job," and everybody, "You're gonna hurt my feelings, this is my job to do," and I'm like, he is like my ultimate troll, he's constantly, like, saying stuff. He will, like, oh my gosh, we were having a game night,
Uh-huh.
and, like, I would be reading off these multiple choice questions and that he was one
Uh-huh.
of the contestants, and he was reading my body language to try to figure out
Oh
which
yeah.
one was,
Oh yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
"Stop it." I was, like, doing this bit where I would, like, hide behind stuff. I'd put something up in front of me where he couldn't watch
Right.
me. So then he was
Right.
reading my voice, and I'm like, "Oh, you are so annoying," but I love him. He's
Well,
hilarious. I mean, ugh,
he's so
everybody
smart.
needs
I
a
mean,
Ben. He's too damn
how
smart.
how smart do you have to be able to, like, tell what the answer is by the inflection of somebody's voice?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, yeah.
Oh, I see this. This is when we were talking about journaling, and Rocket Out for Life says, I was betrayed by my journals. Others use them against me, and I quit writing over 35 years ago. This week I am writing one unsent letter to ease into it again. I
Rio for
absolutely
life.
get what
I
you're
love that.
saying. I
You
absolutely
know,
get it. My ex-husband showed up at our "Oh, I love your cat."
yeah,
That's like hooking up.
this is one of them. This
But
is Hedy Lamar.
yeah,
She's my Siamese.
it's beautiful. I'm always
Yeah.
watching for Shitty Cat. Shitty Kitty.
Oh, Shitty Kitty. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Shitty Kitty.
That's how my Reese was. She was something else, and we had her put down. She had dementia, and
Oh,
so she was acting out by trying to eat my face, literally. Like,
oh,
I could walk
yeah.
by her and she would literally launch at my face, and I mean, I'm like, "No, I can't." We tried everything and the vet was just like, "You really need to consider
It,
this, your safety
yeah,
is, important
right,
here." So,
right,
yeah.
right. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to say, Rio for life. If you're still here, I am so sorry that that happened
Mhm.
to you. And, um, what a huge
That is
way
so unfair.
to be
That's
betrayed. But I am so proud of you for
Mhm.
writing an unsent letter. She's near my computer. I don't want her to step on it. Um, writing an unsent letter
Mhm.
is a beautiful way to release that. The emotions this week are very raw. They're
Yeah.
very real. They're very kind of like just right there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's a beautiful way. And there's other ways that you can journal. You can do it through drawing a picture or
Mhm.
creating a collage or
Absolutely.
there's so many ways to do it. So I talk about journaling. I'm just a writer. I love to write. So it's my
Mhm.
favorite thing. Do not chew on that. Um,
She also says
but
next step in therapy is to learn to process anger.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you're in therapy. It's important
Yes.
to have a good
I
therapist
think
to
so
work through
too.
these things too. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not one.
Yeah. Yeah. Hurt, loss, grief, fear are tough emotions. They are, and it seems
They
like
are.
in my life anyway, that one doesn't seem to come without all the others. Like
Yeah.
they are a gang of emotions that they don't descend one on one. They come at
Right.
me all together in the
Right.
most unfair moments, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but my
Mhm.
eyes are kind of swollen today because I've just had it's been a really emotional week, and I have just done a
It
lot of
has.
crying and
Yeah.
everything, and some of it was happy tears, but tears, it's tears nonetheless, and,
There's a lot of planetary movement
yeah,
and we're switching from Scorpio. We're now in Sagittarius. So there's a lot this week, the rest of the month.
yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
something. There's something
this,
definitely moving out there.
yes.
This is exactly what I'm currently working on. Great episode. Well, I am so glad,
Good.
so glad.
Good.
I did see somebody else down through here. I'm gonna kind of scoot down and see if I see any questions, but there was something else that I saw. Aw, this one is one of your viewers says, "Christy is so smart. Her show always kept me company." She is very smart
Oh,
and so
that's
kind.
Kim. I'm so excited to see you. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you were here.
Yeah.
I've missed everybody from my channel, honestly. I can't wait to see everybody again.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm smart. I just surround myself with very smart people and I ask them all kinds of questions.
Ben, Mark also doesn't like disco, which makes him a beautiful person. He is a beautiful person, but I don't think it has anything to do with his his dislike of disco. Janet from Another Planet is here. Some people were coming in late and are gonna have to, come back
Yeah.
in on the replay to catch
Yeah.
the first part of it. I'm really trying. Yes, absolutely, Mare. I was saying how, we say this is a safe place for everything, and Mare says it's doesn't mean you don't get a pee-pee stick. You don't get your pee-pee. I just said that one time. I was saying something about I was trying to be, like, not curse, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That the only rule I really have is don't be a dick," and I was just like,
Right.
"Don't be a pee-pee stick," and it has stuck. We're gonna have merch that talk about pee-pee sticks. Not
Oh,
talk
that's
about them, but
amazing.
mention
I
it.
love that.
Janet says, "I find your screen looks a little dim, but your face doesn't look wide." It is the lighting. I don't have all my lighting in here, so it is dim. I don't have the lighting because I just had eye surgery on both my eyes,
Yeah.
and the bright lights really just don't do I still
Mhm.
can't, the shows that I'm doing, like, right now, I,
Mhm.
are shows that I don't have to do a whole lot of research to because
Right.
I can't be reading for hours, I can't have
Yeah.
hours of screen time. I'm
Mhm.
getting to like, when I watch other people's chats, their channels, a
Mhm.
lot of times I'm there, but I might not be in the chat because if I start paying
Right.
attention to what everybody's saying, then my eyes, they don't do
Yeah.
well. They've got some pressure. I don't have an infection or anything, but there's just I think it has to do with my autoimmune diseases. That
Oh.
there's some pressure in my eyes. They won't let
Mhm.
me fly right now. Like, I was wanting to go to
Yeah, that's
Clearwater for
scary.
December 5th for this,
Yeah.
Lisa McPherson thing, and I can't do well, I can if we drive, but Mark's just like, "I don't wanna drive. We just did this long road trip." So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But anyway, so Ben was, like, explaining I was laughing as we were going down through here. He was explaining reasons with the camera why my face might look wide.
Oh.
Uh, but there is somebody was saying something. I'm trying to find this one's good too. Um, oh, John's here too. There's a lot of people here and I haven't been saying hi to everybody, but I honestly I can't like look at all
Yeah.
it starts like being a blur after a
Right.
while. So lying to
Right.
ourselves is more deeply ingrained than lying to others. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So I was going to mark that while ago. I'm gonna go down to the bottom and go up because I think it was down closer to the bottom. Ah, Misha's in here too.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Well, Susie, see, me and my laptop, I'm gonna hook up like I really am. I've got it. I've got like a wireless mouse because for some
Oh,
reason
yeah.
my fingers don't work good on these. So
It's
where is
tricky.
that at? Okay, this one. Here we go. I found it, I think. Okay, so Eileen Bradley says, I could have really done with a timely notification tonight. Had a scary experience with a weird guy swinging around a big knife at an otherwise deserted station earlier and need some distraction. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my
It
goodness.
went by a while ago and I saw a big knife and distraction and I was just like, I gotta go find this. I didn't know what it was. That is
Oh,
so
wow.
scary. That is
Yeah.
terrifying. Yeah, and I don't know what is up with the notifications. Somebody told me that if you're not getting notifications to, like, unsubscribe and then resubscribe and re-hit
Mhm.
the notifications button. So, it'll look like I dump a bunch of subscribers all at once, but
Right.
you might
Right.
try that, I've tried it with a
Yeah.
couple, and it seems like I am getting more notifications, but I don't know. YouTube be YouTubing.
It yeah, this algorithm is, the only thing I've really figured out is like, subscribe, and share. Like, those
Yeah,
are the things that help the most and
yeah.
just kind of yeah, but oh my goodness, I hope that you're well, I mean, clearly you're
I
safe because you're
know.
here,
Yeah, 'cause you're
but
here, but that is
that
terrifying.
sounds like a very traumatizing experience for sure.
Mhm. Misha says, but know who you are sharing with. Make sure they are
Yeah.
able to hear your truth. Absolutely. Sometimes it can
Yeah.
hurt you can hurt your friends accidentally. Yeah. There's a
Mhm.
fine line between this life is so confusing at times. Yeah, and then she's got the rest of it. Hold on. But ultimately, stand up for yourself. Nobody deserves to live a life for others, if not for themselves as well. Absolutely. That's very
And
smart.
yeah, and
So,
she does bring up a good point, make sure that you're aware of, and you might traumatize somebody without
I
knowing it,
know
because
without even
maybe
knowing.
maybe they didn't share what they were going through because they didn't understand it. So
Mhm.
if
We
you
had
do
kind
share
of
with
a
somebody,
we had kind of
yeah,
a
if you
situation like that. It is heartbreaking when you figure out that
right,
you have unknowingly really triggered
yeah,
somebody that you
right,
wouldn't have hurt them, for anything. We had we had a mod that there was just some stuff that went on, anytime you got
mhm,
people, there can be little
mhm,
drama here and there, even amongst great people with, who are great
right,
friends. And there was just some stuff that went on. I won't go into it, but there was some stuff that went on that triggered this individual, and I wouldn't have done that for anything, and it wasn't just me.
right,
I mean, not trying to, shift the blame. It was
right, right,
ultimately I was, it starts at it starts at the head. The rot starts at
yeah,
the head kinda deal. And I mean, it was
yeah,
my channel or is my channel, even though I always say our channel, but anyway,
yeah,
it was my responsibility to know better, do better, but I do now. And so we're all back to being friends and everything is, really good. But,
yeah,
yeah, that is so true. You can actually hurt people without meaning to. And so people not necessarily are narcissistic asshole ex-husbands, but there are people that they can hurt you that they didn't mean to hurt you. It goes both
yeah,
ways. You can hurt people without meaning to, but people can also
yeah.
hurt you that didn't mean to. It's this world is effed up.
It's crazy. Well, and I would say too, like, be kind to yourself. If they did not share what they were going through
Yeah.
because they didn't understand it or they didn't want to share it, don't take all of that blame on yourself,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
doesn't belong all to you.
Mhm. Absolutely. I'm, like, going down here. Okay, I'm seeing if she said something else. She said, "I was more angry than
Mhm.
scared at that point, which is why I yelled at him until he left. Wasn't until I was
Oh,
was
wow.
safely in the train that I freaked out." I bet. Oh my gosh, when you, like,
Yeah.
had a minute to be like, "Holy crap,
Process
that could
it.
have really."
Yeah. Oh,
Bless your
man.
heart. I am so glad that you're
Right.
okay. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. This world is crazy. This
It
world
is.
is so crazy. Well,
It
Chrissy, we
absolutely is.
have topped the 2-hour mark. So, like, I think I'm gonna call it at this point because I really
Yeah.
want you to come back again. I love when we just sit
Yes.
and chat, and we're kind of both all over the place, but if I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed, and I'm sure you did, that even when we tend to go off on these little side things, it does
Huh.
come back to it. Like,
Right.
all these
Yeah.
little things that we kinda went off on these discussions, it kinda did come back to the whole thing that we were talking about to begin with,
Right.
and,
Right.
I don't know, I always find that so interesting that it does that when we get together and talk, I really do.
I
So,
do. I call it the circle back. I love
yeah,
when things circle back.
I do
It's
too, I do
amazing.
too.
It's
'Cause in
amazing.
my head, when we're doing these conversations and I'm like, "Here we are again, we're right back where we were,"
Right?
and so that
Right?
is, it's a circle back, it's so I don't know, I like it, I think it's cool. It
Yeah.
I think it shows that we're onto something, that, that this is not just woo-woo talk, this is, like, real
Right.
talk and
Yeah.
life lessons that we're learning ourselves, and I think by sharing our mess, that it makes other people see that
Exactly.
their mess is not weird. Like, we're all weird.
Right.
We're all
Right.
weird.
And that's the thing. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't say that to downplay anybody's stuff, but
No,
to
no,
just
no.
be like,
No,
you
it's
know,
true. You
You're
know, because
not
I mean,
you're
I
not
know some
alone out
people that
there.
are like, if you say, "Well, you're not the only one," they think that it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like you're putting it down or, lessening
Right.
it. No, it's not.
Right.
It means,
Right.
"Girl, join the club. We got you because we know where you're
Right.
coming from. We know what you're talking about," kinda deal. And it's not to
Mhm.
minimize somebody else's journey.
Yeah. No.
It's a validation
Yeah.
of just being like, "You know what? Yeah, this happens, and, you're not totally to blame for this. Maybe you've got a blame in it, but it's not all yours," and I don't know, I just think it's cool. I
Right.
I I like these kinda just all over the place talks.
Oh, me too. I'm all over the place all the time.
I
So,
am too
if
all
you
over.
could keep up with me, you're doing good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Thank you so, so much for being here. I love talking to you. I think we had such a good talk. It is kind of a strange time of day for mine, so we didn't have a huge audience, but the ones that I see, it sounds, what I'm reading, it looks like they were really involved. It's gonna be
Yeah.
really interesting. I always love to see on the replay and get some of the
Yes.
reactions from people on the replay
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
those are the people, that they can sometimes get more out of it because they can stop and back up and
Yeah.
kinda be like, "What did
Yeah.
she say?" So I
I
just
I
think it's
love the replay views.
I do
That
too.
that to me is really cool. It's like, oh, you thought enough of I
To to
you
go
couldn't be
look
there when
for
I
it.
was live, but you followed up anyway.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. Oh, I
absolutely.
have people that I absolutely go to that they're my go-to people on their replays, and a lot of times I've noticed in the last month since my eye surgeries that
Mhm.
I'm purposely going to replays because it makes me stay out of the
Yeah.
chat
Yeah. Oh,
because
there you go. That's a good
because my
point.
eyes get really tired.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it makes me just listen more than, like, I wonder what the chat's saying, so, yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway,
Right.
yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, I'm
Well,
gonna go and please let's
yeah.
do this again. Just, let's
Absolutely.
get past
Yeah, whenever you're
Thanksgiving and
ready.
let's do it again. Yeah, anytime. I'll
Absolutely.
message you. We can book something for next week or the week after, whatever you wanna do, and anytime is
Sounds
good. So,
sounds good. Well, you guys all have a good Thanksgiving and
absolutely.
take care of yourselves and we'll chat soon.
Absolutely. We'll chat soon. See everybody later. Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the show. So glad you were here. We meet here most days. We're but first coffee, and you're welcome here. We talk about hard subjects, but we also laugh a lot. If you have a loss or win, we will cheer for you. We're but first coffee, and you are safe here. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons,